Shu Hui, the Late Belle. During the morning, she faces her mirror stand. With her makeup done, she paces to and fro a while. It would take 1,000 in gold to start a smile from her. So however could she come at a single summons? So, this is the last of Shu Hui's she poems. She has some others in the full form, which, as you will remember, are long, rambling, prosymmetric texts that were particularly popular during the Han Dynasty. But we're not going to get involved in those because the anthology that we took as a cue for this continuation, the 300 Tang poems, is a she anthology, although they include some Jui Fu, but they're not strictly not she. But anyway, this is her last and probably her most famous poem. This is a pentasyllabic quatrain. It's pretty short. It was anthologized in texts like the 9th century Da Tang Chuang Zai or the 11th century Tang Shi Yi Shi and the early 12th century Tang Yu Ling. And again, it's her most popular piece, probably because Chinese literary critics tend to like poems that they can really associate both the author and the poetic persona as inextricable. So this is a poem, as you have seen, it's a poem of a palace beauty, a palace lady, and she has arrived late. Probably she has been summoned by the emperor, and she is late. And she is very coquettishly explaining or justifying herself in this poem, if we imagine her pronouncing it or reciting it. And saying, well, you know, I come late, I'm just fabulous, extraordinarily beautiful lady, and, you know, some person of value like me does not come running around at the first call. So, you know, it's a very coquettish, pert, almost brash poem. Yeah, a little bit, you know, with a little bit of humor. Anecdotes that are related, associated with this poem, interpreted biographically. And, you know, we should be a bit skeptical about these because Chinese literary critics tend to do this all the time. But, you know, like the anecdote here is that that Shu Hui was in a Buddhist convent, in a Buddhist abbey in the capital, doing some practices or just a visit, because it was pretty common for women in courtier women in the Tang to visit these abbeys and to make overnight visits to selected Buddhist establishments in the capital. And yeah, she would have come back and made this poem. But whether it's biographical or just a jeu d'esprit, it's an interesting piece. Very short, but conveys very directly the topic. So the topic of the poem is the bell, the palace bell, which, as we've mentioned lots of times in other poems, was a very, very common subject of Six Dynasties poetry. And Shu Hui is an early Tang writer. She's influenced by this style, just as her emperor, who also composed some poems, Tang Taizong, also wrote in this effete, overly ornamental, sometimes pretty superficial, definitely not very Confucian and moralistic style of poetry. And a favorite topic of this genre is the depiction of beautiful palace ladies surrounded by luxurious items. The first couplet evokes that. We have the woman in the morning with her makeup looking into the mirror. The second couplet moves a little bit. Well, it doesn't break with that topic. It emphasizes the value and beauty of the woman, but it plays on with the theme of this beauty of incalculable value is, you know, still a bit coquettish and retiring, and can be a little bit playful. Again, playing with Tang expectations of the kingdom toppling beauty. Okay, the poem is pretty short, so let's take a look, as usual, couplet by couplet. Just two couplets here. First couplet. During the morning, she faces her mirror stand. With her makeup done, she paces to and fro a while. So the lady in the morning is ready. She is narcissistically checking that she looks perfect. Makeup is in perfect condition. She is looking stunning as usual. And again, this sort of voyeuristic peeking into the boudoir of a palace lady is a really favorite topic of Six Dynasties poetry in early town. She is, in her prime and in the top of her beauty and ready to present herself to the emperor. But something happens, or she's a little bit late. Second couplet. It would take 1,000 in gold to start a smile from her. So however could she come at a single summons? So again, I said this is playing coquettishly. Even getting a smile from her would take 1,000 gold coins. So valuable and so proud is the lady. And in lots of anecdotes about bad palace ladies that corrupted emperors, there's this idea that the emperors did extravagant things to get them to smile, like I think it was one of the last emperors of the Shang dynasty, or of the, no, I think it was, no, now I think it was the last Western Zhou emperor, Emperor Zhou, who was besotted by Bao Su, lighted the beacons that warned of danger in his capital domain, and then got the lords to come to the capital. And it was just for the amusement of Bao Si, who was always very serious and only laughed when she saw the nobleman ridiculed by coming hastily to succor the royal house and to find that it had all been a prank. So there's this background to this. It would take 1,000 in gold to start a smile from her. Like, this is this sort of dangerously beautiful lady who, is not a low investment person. And this is hammered in by the next line. However could she come at a single summons? She's too precious, too valuable to, just act slavishly like maybe other courtier ladies and concubines of the emperor who at the first word, come running. Yeah, she comes slowly because she's aware of her beauty, her seductiveness, her power. So, fitting conclusion to Xu Hui's few poems, and we will continue with something else next time.